Today I'm going to talk a little bit about fiber optics and how to illuminate it, because they make really good light sources for focal testing, whatever. Anyway, I threw this together in about 10 minutes, and most of that time was waiting for the hot melt glue to warm up. And here I've got a high-powered LED, and I glued it to this piece of channel. Actually, I put a piece of black tape, and then I super glued the LED to that for insulation and as a heat sink. Pretty crude. And this is just a little block of wood, and with some modeling clay to hold it in, and I've got my LED as close to it as I can get, and in line with the with my fiber, I should say my fiber in line with the LED. And I've powered it with a little 3.6 wall adapter. So very simple. Let me show you. Let me plug it in and show you how bright it is. It's so bright you can't even look at it without for very long. So it puts out plenty of light. So that's an easy way to illuminate it. And let me show you something here. This is kind of my drawing. Fiber optic puts light out in a cone at a certain numerical aperture. And the best fiber, I think, is a 9-micron core, and it has a plastic cladding on it. But anyway, if you can aim it at an LED that's larger than the numerical aperture of the fiber, then étendue is conserved, and there's really no need to do anything more fancy like pumping it in with a microscope objective. So that's what I've done here. My LED is encapsulated, so assuming that I'm not, I'm still looking at a larger apparent size than the numerical aperture of the fiber, then étendue is conserved. Okay, so I need to cleave this fiber, and got a piece of Pyrex here that's been cut, and so it has a sharp edge. Anything that's as hard or harder you could use to cut. And what you want to do is just basically lay it down and just kind of scratch. Just draw it across and scratch it, and then give it a bend about where you think you scratched it. And if it rotates, and you rotate it and you see light coming out the side, yeah, see it like that, then that's not successful. But you got plenty of fiber, so you just keep trying until you get it good. Try it again. Try that. That's even worse. But I'm running out of fiber because it's so I have to remove the cladding here, and that's not too hard to do. You just found the best way to do that is just to take a razor blade, lay it almost flat, and then maybe about a ½ inch up on the cladding, and then just pull the fiber underneath the razor blade, and do that a few times. Rotate it and do that. Just keep a shallow angle on the razor blade, and you end up with more fiber to play with. And so you just keep doing it. Scratch it and break it. Hey, that looks pretty good. And like I say, a good test is is to project it down on a white piece of paper, and that looks pretty good. You can see. Yeah. It's pretty good. I don't see any light streaming off of the side, and that's about as good as I'll expect to do. And you see, that makes a really bright source. It's hard to beat. There's a lot of neat optical tests you can do with fiber.
So note that I only did one end of my fiber because the other end was encapsulated and commercially done. If you get just a plain piece of fiber, then you'll have to do both ends. But you use the same procedure and try to get both ends as good as you can, and it'll be just as good. Fiber optics are pretty cool because any light you get in one end will come out the other, and there's no heat involved. So you can actually stick it in the light path without generating any heat currents. So since you can stick it in the light path and it's very, very small size, hardly has any obstruction, and it's good for doing tests like conjugate tests where you have to separate the light source and the knife edge. And there's a myriad of other tests that fiber optic is useful for. And since the output end of the fiber is perfectly round, it's a good test for astigmatism. When I was a young man